guys, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. Just going on from the last video. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Crystal. I'm just a member of the public that vlogs everyday life. Sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's in between. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. Right, so the second part of the video that I was just adding on from, I spent Sunday around my mum's. I've got a really incredibly noisy neighbour upstairs. He can't control his kids. Maybe it's not his fault, maybe it's, they've got some kind of, autism is a very, very horrible thing to have. And I can understand if you've got 3 or 4 with autism, the poor guy shouldn't be in an ordinary flat dealing with children that are harming, possibly, because it does sound like when the kids are screaming that they're harming each other, and they have thrown things out of the window, and obviously a missile thrown out of the window can hit somebody on the head. I don't see how that is funny, and encouraging it is going to help the situation. It's going to make it worse. If you laugh when children are being naughty, it's going to make them worse. And possibly someone at a later stage could actually get injured from something being thrown out of the window. It's not funny, especially if an innocent bystander gets hit on the head with a hard object. So I fail to see why people think it's funny, making kids get extremely angry and irritable. It's not funny at all. So I got away from the situation yesterday before I just started getting angry and upset myself, negative feelings which I don't want to feel. I'm getting on now in age, and I certainly don't want to spend the rest of my life listening to that going on upstairs. Thank you. So, I had a pizza around my mum's. It was a dark-haired, attractive pizza delivery guy with sunglasses on, and my mother, Jennifer, opened the door to him and took the pizza in and paid for it. I was out in my mother's garden hanging some washing out whilst my mum was paying the pizza delivery guy. So he gave the pizza to my mum, Jenny. Me, Crystal, was in my mum's backyard hanging my washing up because my washing machine's broken. Right? So I sat watching a film on Freevee, Freevee, Freevee it's called, and it was a Lee Evans film. I can't remember the name of it. Lee Evans was in it and Kathy Burke, and they were common council estate, playing parts of a common council estate, and he was setting fire to tyres in his backyard. He was setting fire to tyres, and it was giving off a billowing smoke and smell. And back in the 80s, a lot of this, families used to live very close to each other. So your mother would live opposite, your sister would live next door, so you'd be surrounded by family. So he was setting fire to tyres in his yard, and his neighbours were absolutely, horrified. This Lee Evans was playing a man that was fed up of being poor and not being able to give his kids anything. So he gets hold of a gun, a replica gun, I don't know, it may have been real, and he starts pinching things and tying people up and putting them in the cellar. And he took his family on holiday, and he tied this couple up in the cellar, this old couple, pointed a gun at them, and he took the holiday holiday prize off of them, took the tickets and went on holiday with his family. He stole a parrot in a pet shop, and he was going around pointing a gun at people and stealing things because he was fed up being poor and he wanted to give his family things they'd never had. So he lost the plot and he ended up in prison for a couple of years. And that's what happens if you thieve and steal and do bad stuff. You end up in prison eventually. But Lee Evans, way back in the day, before he really became a famous comedian, with his funny, he had a gap in his front teeth. When he first started, Lee Evans didn't have perfect teeth. You see, when actors and actresses become famous and they earn more money, one of the first things they do is get their teeth done. So I saw Lee Evans in a film before he actually really became a famous comedian, alongside Kathy Burke. And Kathy Burke was a female comedian, and she's still about now. Alexa, how old is Lee Evans?
Lee Evans is 58 years old.
So Lee Evans is around the same age as me, he's 58. How old is Kathy Burke, Alexa? Alexa, how old is Kathy Burke?
Kathy Burke is 58 years old.
So around the same age, 50s. Lee Evans, Kathy Burke. So when I was 15, Lee Evans was 20, and so was Kathy Burke. So I grew up with them. You know, Lee Evans with his big ears and his funny face and his jokes. I watched that a lot in Gloucestershire, Lee Evans. Right, so I watched that film round my mum's, and Four in a Bed, the hotel series, everything like before, but my dad was not there. Dad's gone, Dad's departed. It's just me and mum sat there now, with nobody else to keep us company. So there's two of us when there was three. I wanted to stay around my mum's as long as I could because I didn't want to come back to the irritation of the noise upstairs. Just wanted to relax, recuperate and calm down, because when somebody continually, it's like being battered and no one stops, you need a bit of respite from it, otherwise you're going to go mental. Bang, 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 wallop. And it sounds to me like the dad is just sat there letting them do it. And if you're telling me no one else can hear it, I don't believe it. They probably put earphones on or headphones on, because you can hear it outside, the screaming. You can hear it round the corner. I've come round the corner of the flats over there opposite, and I've heard the kids screaming. Someone said to me, has no one else heard it? Of course they have. But people turn a blind eye to things they don't want to know. If it doesn't hurt them and it's not bothering them, they don't want to know. That's what people do. So I came home yesterday after being round my mum's. It was an Indian driver, Asian. Hello, doggy! So I get out of my mum's flat at Durrell Gardens, wait for the taxi, I put my shopping bags down. And it's not Jenny getting the taxi, it's not my mum, it's me, Crystal, getting the taxi. And the driver goes, it's an Indian man, he sat at the wheel. Hello, doggy. Oh, lovely doggy. And my mum's got neighbours outside, a young couple, a bloke with a beard and his girlfriend, right, in their 20s, and the driver's yelling out, hello, doggy, lovely doggy. I like the doggy. And he's got all the plastic up for coronavirus in his taxi, so all the plastic's still there. Right, as if it was coronavirus. And my poor mum, right, she's got bald patches on her head. She's a bit overweight and she's old. And it's not my mum getting in the taxi, it's me by myself. And all he's going on is, "Hello, doggy. Oh, this is a nice doggy." Loud, so all the neighbours can hear it. My mum goes back in the flat and I've got a conversation with this Indian guy talking about his dog. He's 60, he's single, he's looking for a woman. Right? That's what he said. And then he said, "Oh, take your time when you get out of the taxi. Take your time." So I've got heavy bags again and a dog under my arm and he just sits there,